Like, it set up tropes specifically to laugh at them.
Well, that's what the Wayne brothers do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a Wayne's Brothers film. Okay,
that was Wayne Brothers, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're in it.
The stream is live-eronies, so we are going to start because we are only slightly behind. Welcome to the Ilderon Tales. This is Group A. What is your guys' name? Sky Wolves. There we go. It's been a while. We do not have a full party tonight. I'll be controlling Tobias. Otherwise, everybody else is here. This is episode 6 of their campaign, and yeah, let's jump into it. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons tonight. It is a live storytelling game. Everything you're going to see tonight is that's not right. It's a tabletop game, and it's everything you're going to see tonight is live storytelling. Nothing you're going to see is scripted, which is one of the reasons why I'm stumbling over myself like I always do in this intro. If you're under the age of 14, please
ask your parents.
Yeah, with your parents. And oh yeah, Ilderon is a world of our own creation, the links for which are in the description if you want to learn more about it. If you've gotten to this point and you don't know about it, we're heading towards setting up the climax, so this is the part of the season where I stop explaining the world. So go to www.ilderontales.com and look up all the information on that site and learn more about the setting. And before we get started with the session, I started doing a thing where I provide tidbits about the world on any subject that people want to know about. Is there anything related to or not related to your guys' story that you guys would like information about? Otherwise, I'll just pick something at random.
Yeah, where is Elena?
Where is Elena? So everywhere you can look, she is not there. Does that answer your question enough?
Well, no, but I didn't expect an answer.
Some kind of darkness or something.
That actually gets in very well to a tidbit that I will give. So the last time the party saw Elena, she was pulled into a portal into the Shadowfell. Ilderon itself is kind of plane locked and cut off from the multiverse. So with that, the planar structure of Ilderon is a lot different than other planes. And if you've ever played a game like World of Warcraft, there's something called like the Emerald Dream, which is kind of like the mirror universe of World of Warcraft of like what Azeroth would look like if it was like untouched by mortals, of like it is the other half of like the material plane that, you know, gives everything in Azeroth its life. So conceptualized kind of like that, Ilderon has these positive and negative planes around it, of demi-planes around it, of basically echoing Ilderon. And so the Shadowfell is kind of like the negative portion of the mirror of Ilderon. So it is everything that Ilderon is, but the parts of it that aren't, if that makes sense. Well, obviously that makes no sense. But on the Shadowfell, it is the in-betweens of all space within Ilderon, and it is also controlled by all of your negative fears and emotions. So if you step into this plane, the worst, most horrific thing you can imagine takes shape in physical form and can attack you and hurt you. And the plane itself responds to those emotions. So another group had like a fight on this city, or rather on this plane, and one of the NPCs they were fighting, his biggest fear was his city being destroyed. So the landscape that their fight happened in was the destroyed ruins of his city. Like, his city wasn't destroyed, but in the Shadowfell it was. And also, just because it's all of the in-between space of Ilderon, that is one of the reasons why people move so much faster comparatively in the Shadowfell compared to the material plane. Of one step in Ilderon is, 7 steps on the Shadowfell. Yeah, I feel like that's a good answer. She is everywhere that you can see that she's not. And that makes 0 sense, and I'm happy to roll with that. So let's get into our recap. Does anybody want to recap what happened last session from this group's perspective, or since it's been so long, would you guys like me to do it?
Go for it.
All right.
Yes, yeah.
So your last session started on the 27th of Hunter. It was after you had interrogated the rogue sorceress Elena Ladelia. Well, I say sorceress, but Arcanist. After you had interrogated Elena Ladelia, and she had escaped through no means of her own, but outside forces pulling her out of the situation. The party went and recovered Alward's body and Kara's body, and then teleported to the volcano known as Mount Moto Malima, and gave him a proper burial. Ogun, since Alward was a foreigner from far away lands, Ogun gave him a burial instead in his culture's way of sending bodies off into the afterlife. And the party swore to carry on Alward's story. Afterwards, you guys shared stories of your favorite moments of Alward's life. And as you were sitting around smoking a pipe, and I believe there was a fire, Fractus noticed a extra set of eyes watching you. Going and inspecting the rocky outcropping, there was a woman who was preparing to deliver a missive to you, to your party. And before she decided to deliver the missive, she was preparing a teleportation circle so she could leave once it was delivered. She delivered the letter and informed the party that it had 2 names on it, and those names' locations, which I have on my NPC list, and that outside forces were watching the party and rooting for their victory against Genprius, and that lady's benefactor wanted to help. And these 2 names were people in the Tidegate who would have an idea of where Genprius' stronghold was. The party pressed the elven woman for more information before she finally let them know that it mattered not if she lived or died, and killing her would accomplish absolutely nothing. She gave the party a name of which they could contact her by. The name was Breath, and she revealed enough information about herself that the party was able to piece together. She worked with a secretive faction called the Daughters of Gendoi, and she was acting as a messenger on their behalf. That reminds me of something. So after that, the party teleported back to the university and talked to Dila if she had ever heard anything about this faction. Dila can only remember 700 years of information at a time, and apparently the Daughters of Gendoi were a much older faction than she was able to call to mind. She had somebody in her office, though, that was a petrified statue. She informed the party that this man had committed one of the worst crimes possible on Ilderon. He had destroyed somebody's soul, and for taking away somebody else's afterlife, the punishment is that you lose your own eternal petrification. However, the reasons that he did it, Dila took sympathy on him and gives him a probation ever so often. Every couple hundred years, she will give him a day or two of life and let him walk around. She unpetrified the man and asked what information he knew, as his memory was significantly more intact. He informed Dila that the person in charge of the Gendenthal Circle was somebody she was once friends with. And then he went off with the party to enjoy his few days of life before he was sent back to being petrified. While he was with the party, he started planting his seeds and saying, hey, you know what you gotta do if you're fighting these people? You gotta destroy their souls. That's the only way. You gotta do it. And yeah, then the scene flipped to Fractus and Soulmane, who were partying it up with Boskai Alarith. Boskai was enjoying a drink at the Singing Ghost Tavern, I believe the name of it was. And Soulmane had a couple questions for her. Since Boskai was in the high society of high elves, he had a sigil that he had seen in a memory of his that he didn't remember what it was, and he asked her if she recognized the symbol. Boskai was too inebriated to recognize it, but her wife did, and said the symbol belonged to a elven clan, and the patriarch of the clan was a man by the name... no, I don't think she ever gave you his first name, but the clan name was Cassandori. And... yeah, then Soulmane said that was most likely his father, and Fractus tried to get him laid, and Soulmane declined, and that's it. And I think that brings us to the session. Is everybody comfortable picking up there, or we can time skip to the morning? Because I don't think you guys were doing anything important other than just partying in Sky's Reach.
Alchemy.
Yeah, but that's downtime. I'm not going to sit and go through. You pour this in. You pour this in. Once the 8 hours pass, I'll have you make a check.
Okay, well that'll be close to morning. Actually, I'm going to be doing about maybe 10 hours worth.
Okay, keep in mind you still need 8 hours of rest to get a long rest.
I know.
A short rest will stop you from getting fatigued, though.
Okay, so throw a short rest in there, in between.
Alright, so what is the decision of the party? Do you guys want to pick up from where we left off, or do you want to time skip to the morning?
I'm okay either way.
Okay. One indifference and one vote for the morning. So right now, I am going to lean towards the morning. There we go.
Morning's fine.
It is the 28th of Hunter. You guys are in the city of Sky's Reach. I am assuming Fractus stayed in the Singing Ghost Tavern. Did Soulmane stay there too?
Where had we been staying otherwise?
The university has a large inn for people traveling to and from the city and university, called the Lucky Spell Tavern.
Practice would have told Soulmane to stick around.
Alright, so yeah, I guess I would be staying there.
Soulmane, Elven Booty, come on. But they might be my cousins, Fractus. But Soulmane, they don't know. I'm kidding, that's horrible.
That might actually be what he said.
Alright, so Soulmane's staying there, the rest of the party is...
The views of my party do not reflect.
Hey, I will say, not this campaign, but the Ilderon Tales started with a bunch of Alabama D&D players who had a dream, so...
Yeah, that dream did not include any of that.
Yeah, it did not. Alright, so let's see. So let's start with Soulmane and Fractus to see where you guys are going, and then we'll jump to the rest of the party. So it is the morning of the 28th. You guys rented, I think, 3 rooms at the tavern. And I'm just rolling percentage dice for...
So Fractus
stuff.
would have tried to send somebody over to Soulmane, even though he declined.
Okay. Give me a persuasion check on that. And I think that's the easiest way to do that. We don't have to play it out or anything. And it's like a morning thing.
It's kind of like late at night,
Okay.
you know.
Alright, and I'm just gonna roll a percentage die on how willing this person is. Okay, so the person who gets sent is going to be... I have to look up the names of these people. The person who gets sent is going to... I'm making sure I got the right one. The person who gets sent is going to be Athale. Hold on, I still don't believe I've got this right one. I'm reading this, my notes on her circle. She's going to send the elf that, she's going to send the elf that, that was recruited, that she recruited away from Cassandori's circle, specifically because, Athalin, that's her name. Specifically because she knows Soulmane and her have no relation whatsoever. Alright, so, it is the 28th, and waking up with Soulmane and Fractus. Athalin would be in Soulmane's room, obviously, and I'm assuming, Soulmane is done dating elves since forever ago and probably would have just been, sleeping on the floor. What do you guys want to do?
Fractus is going to turn to Boskai and go, I'd really like you to come with us.
Boskai is going...
Are we in the alone in her room? Am I alone with her in her room?
So, one thing that you are going to notice about her, it doesn't ever seem that you're alone with her.
Okay, fair enough.
Two are one of her husbands and one of her wives seem more like bodyguards than romantic partners. And Boskai is going to just like respond and bed with you and just say, traveling would be nice, but there are duties for the Rangers at my command. I can't abandon them. If I did, my mother would have my head.
I wish I could do those duties for you and make things easier.
And she's going to nod and say, well, if your path continues hunting Gen Prius's Quarioso, Milanthogar Mari's Quarioso, I'm sure our paths will cross again too.
I'll make it a priority to at least visit and see you. Plus, we have the stones. I definitely want to keep in touch.
She is going to say,
I'm gonna try something smooth. Is there a flower that isn't like walking, like a flower around?
yeah, you bought a whole bushel for her yesterday. She can only animate so many or awaken so many a day, so I would say still 80% of that bushel is unawakened.
Okay, I'm gonna take one of the flowers that is unawakened, and I'm gonna slide a hand and put it in her hair.
Okay. You're going to be able to do that. And she's gonna have she's gonna have like a slight smile on her face and just chuckle a little bit. With Practice's passive insight, it's almost patronizing of just like, aw, that's cute.
He'll take it.
Mm-hmm. All right. She is going to get out of bed and start getting ready for her day.
Practice is gonna watch her.
All right. So out of all of those names I sent you, you are going to notice Magozo and Gaji, one of her husbands and one of her wife. The two that are almost always by her side and always armed are going to help her get dressed for the day and start talking to her about the plans for their, I guess, naval forces at this moment would be the proper, would be the proper term for them. They're all seaborne. Yeah, seaborne forces. There we go.
Practice is going to interrupt a little bit, and he's just like, I do have to ask. We may need help down at the Galkan Earthfire. If we are lucky, we will locate her before that happens. But we may need an army there. Do you think you can help rally support for us?
Boskai is going to inhale and exhale and say, if the Milanthogar commands it, of course. But she shakes her head and says, Heimsdale has strayed far from the faith. Alonagai's still sisters with Rion, But in Heimsdale, they spread, they propagate death and destruction in their culture. They destroy more than they build. They strayed so far from the wills. It was a mercy of us coming to this country. I can't imagine the Milanthalgar will seek the same intervention for a nation such as Heimsdale.
Well, I can agree with you a little bit on that. At least they try. But this is more than just them, Boskai. This is the world. What will happen when the earth fires go dark? What will happen when some god that we don't know gets raised? It could be the destruction of everything we know, everything beautiful, everything pristine.
She's going to nod and say, my mother doesn't command armies, but I can consult with her and at least convince her to let me go and inform the Heimsdale king. It's a king currently that they have, correct?
Would I know that, Brendan?
You can roll a history check on it. Yeah, Heimsdale has a king, a very old king. He's been king for like 40 years, so like he's one of the longest rulers who isn't eternal in Ilderon.
Him old.
As far as I know, if the old man hasn't kicked the bucket, he's a king. Yes.
She's going to nod and say, "Well, I have first-hand insight at what happened at the I forgot. Amira Song. That's the name of the Illuminagian Earthfire." She's going to say, "I have first-hand knowledge of what happened at Amira's Song. If anything, I'll be able to take a few brothers and sisters and at least share my knowledge with him." And she is going to hold up the sending stone and say, "If I'm able, I'll contact you."
I would like that. Well, unfortunately, I must go. But I wish to see you again soon. And with that, Fractus is going to walk up to her and give her a kiss. And then walk away.
Wholesome.
Before you walk away from her, she's gonna stop and grab your hands, and she's gonna say, "Fractus, your world is gonna be fine. My mother and the Milanthalgar, they've shepherded Ilderon through countless wars and events of near total destruction. And every side, life and that which is good, remains, and we keep living. I haven't seen a great war like this, but she's just going to nod and say, just have faith."
Fractus is going to reciprocate the hand holding, and he's going to look at her and he's going to kind of give her the cheesy one-liner of, as long as you're in my world, as long as you're here with me, my world will be perfect. And he tells you, having faith is what I do. And he's going to give her one more kiss goodbye.
All right.
And then he's going to turn into the other two, the husband and wife. And he's going to say, last night I clocked a Eladrin that was staring at us. Be on your guard. I don't know what if she was after us, Soulmane, or myself. But take care of her. And then he's going to leave.
All right. And you go and find Soulmane?
Yeah, I'm going to try, but...
All right.
I'm going to knock.
Anthony, what you doing?
I want the juicy details. What happened?
No, he just kind of, like Brandon said, slept on the floor or on the other side.
Oh, I'm in Thalen sleeping on the floor. Like, she
Oh
wanted
no, he would have been.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Something is courteous enough to give her the bed.
Alright. So, yeah, Fractus comes here, knocks on the door, like, I want the details. Thalen is going to open it, and she's just going to bow and say, all of his needs were serviced. And she's going to kind of like...
I'm gonna inside check. I'm gonna inside check.
Alright. Go ahead. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing for her to be passed around like a courtesan. But also, she understands she wasn't brought into the circle for love. And she's just going to keep her head down, walking towards...
Before she walks away, Practice is going to lean down and say, I'm sorry. I thought it would be nice for both of you. I apologize.
And she's going to shake her head and say, oh, no, of course not. If it's what Lady Alarith wanted of me, her grace's word, and my solemn vow to fulfill.
Practice is going to whisper, there's no need to apologize.
And again, she's going to nod and
Practice will bow to her respectfully.
Soulmane is napping on the floor. Doesn't look like many needs were fulfilled.
Is he awake?
I'm gonna roll he is waking up as you step in.
I'm going to kick him in the shoe.
You know I'm gonna hurt you for this later, right?
What? Oh, come on, man. It was a perfect time to let loose. It's not like we're not saving the world, man. The least you could have done is got your stinger wet a little. Holy cow, man.
I'm sorry, what did you just call it?
Did you like that?
I'm upset, I'm offended, and confused.
I think that's a new combo.
You're not in the room, JD.
I wouldn't be a leader if I wasn't disappointed in you sometimes.
Yeah, not really in the mood for anything like that right now, Practice.
Well, you gotta find love when you can, man. I get it. Kieran really did a number on you. And I know you loved that girl. I was just hoping that you could have a fun night and forget about her.
Well, it didn't help the fact that the choice was what might be have been a potential stepmother.
With that, Practice Guffaw laughs and says, I hadn't thought of that. Yes, that could have been quite embarrassing. I just thought you liked elves because of Nikira, and I didn't think about that. I might have to call you Little Boy King now.
Yeah, I'm really gonna hurt you for that one later, Practice. I hope you know this.
My apologies, man. Not something I really had thought of at the time. You know, I had quite a bit of liquor when we were throwing down. That's when I got the idea of going against your wishes. Oh, most guy was into it. She thought it was. She thought, sure, why not? I guess I was a little bit too persuasive. Oh,
Well,
okay.
She was also almost blackout drunk by the time we got there.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I deserve it. Just don't kill me yet. I gotta save the world. Afterwards, I'll probably deserve that. Little Boy King.
I'm
that's
gonna
so
keep
good.
tabs, don't worry. Let's go find the
Well-
others.
Well, sorry for the accommodations. I had a good time. Let's just say that. You, on the other hand, was the floor comp.
Practice, how many times on our way here have we slept on the ground? We literally were almost killed sleeping on the ground one night.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that stupid skeleton again.
Yeah,
You know, I still have nightmares from that thing.
I don't blame you. It took you and me almost out.
I lost one of my favorite horses.
Worst thought is, there's scarier shit to come.
Yeah. At least we took care of Terror Cry, so that's one nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Hey, by the way, did you notice that Eladrin girl? When we were talking, she was quite noticing. I couldn't tell if she was after Boskai or us.
Well, you know, you remember what that...
Oh, did Anthony just disconnect? Yeah, I think his internet went out.
Damn, that was a good session.
Yeah, you know that. Blink. I'm going to rule that he is getting up and you guys are heading towards the party. So we'll just jump back to you whenever he gets back.
Fair enough.
The rest of the... up! Is he there? It's actually very fortuitous that we stopped, that he cut off for some reason. We'll pick up whenever Anthony's connection's stable with them. The rest of the party, you guys are at the Lucky Spell Inn, and oh my goodness gracious, is this guy, whoever you are drinking with, the most depressing person in the world to drink with. All night, this is, by the way, the guy that was petrified in Delila's office, was, basically, he told you guys he destroyed somebody's soul and that, he wanted to live it up while he could. And he wanted to get a drink while he was able to. Taking him out to drink for the night. He keeps dropping depressing lines on you guys all night until he passes out at the bar. Basically, you know what's the worst thing about being petrified for 700 years at a time? Is that every time you wake up, everybody you know is dead. They never give you enough time to take a shit, so you wake up, you eat a bunch, and then you get petrified, and you still have to shit, but you only have 24 hours to drink, so you don't spend 40 minutes of it shitting. again, and it goes on until eventually it's you got. So when you wake up, it's blah, blah, and he's passed out at the bar.
So Ogun counters his horrible tales of being petrified with even more horrible tales of this is what it's like to be this kind of animal because you shit and fuck through the same hole and a few other things. Aiming for graphic descriptions that will make him lose his lunch. So if it's not coming out the other end, it'll come out the front.
Yeah, you help him with the constipation problem because he definitely does vomit several times throughout the night, but that does not slow him down.
Okay, it was worth a shot.
He exits stage left, like at the first mention of any of that. She's like, "All right, I'm out."
All right. It is the 28th in the morning. Everybody is waking up. This man, let's see. I'm gonna roll a percentage die if he randomly dropped his name last night. You guys think it's a Mirren? He mentions that name a lot when referencing stories about himself. He is still on the table you left him at last night. Whoever
wouldn't actually leave him on a table, like get him a room or something like that, some appropriate place to sleep it off.
Okay.
So that he's not just like out there where somebody can rob him blind or whatever they would do to him.
All right. Yes, you guys are able to gather him up, and he has a geese to return to Dila in a few days. So he cannot wander too far without it going off.
Okay. Well, Ogun also knows those can be painful, probably not lethal, and potentially circumvented. So he's debating, like, do I need to keep an eye on this guy or what?
All right. So, what do you guys want to do in the morning? You are able to all gather up. He is coming conscious as you guys step into his room. You are Sans Soulmane and Sans... you're Sans Soulmane and Sans Fractus. Also, top of the morning, give me 2 craft checks for Sentry.
Something top of the morning to you, laddie?
For working on his potions throughout the night. Using your alchemy supplies. Did you hear me, Steve?
I was muted. Okay. I hear you. 2 of those.
All right. Yes, you complete 8 hours of work, and then I will allow you to store your last hour of work. And then, if you take that hour short rest, you stave off. You stave off a long rest for the day. However, if you don't get a long rest the next night, even if you short rest, you are going to get a level of exhaustion. All right.
And in practical theory, can I combine the dust with the rosemary technique?
Yeah. I will allow that. Whatever potion you brew, it can be administered as a bonus action from the rosemary oil.
Right, and then turned into a gas if I do the other.
All right. It is you are there with the party. What do you guys want to do?
Well, Ogun's had time to think about it, and he doesn't like the idea of, or isn't super enthusiastic about chasing into the Shadow Realm or wherever the hell Elena went off to. So definitely getting ahead of her at this point.
All right.
Didn't we have a lead to go down into the islands? Check out a church.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that, and there's also the mysterious benefactor situation that we can pursue, potentially.
Oh.
Well, that elf dropped us that note and said, hey, you might want to talk to these people, and
Yeah.
I don't like the...
that was leading us toward the same thing, supposedly locating it more easily.
Yeah. It's just annoying. Yeah, we can do that. I don't know, what is everybody else thinking?
Amiran is going to speak up. He is face down on the bed. He raises a hand and says,
Great idea. We'll get right after that.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to offer an equivalently useful opinion?
I want some breakfast too. Sounds good. Long night.
He picks himself up and says, last I checked, you don't have to worry about a Yandel. Whatever she's trying to accomplish can't be done. Dila banished her god from this world. He falls headfirst back into the bed.
Well, banished gods are less annoying than present gods, but their followers tend to be an extra large pain in the butt.
He grumbles, just...
Well, you can always try to find it without checking in those contacts.
Yeah.
There's supposedly an invisibly hidden structure with all kinds of other magical things going on. I mean, if we're lucky, Orion here might run into it and make an outlet clink, and then we know right where it is. But that's, not in the dark.
Yeah,
Points at his owl.
Waiting for the clank is occasionally a great tactic. I'll agree with that.
And with that, Sindri will hand the newest potion he's created to the owl. And a little instructions to use it when needed. So, those present.
Anthony, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. You were saying something before you left. I rolled that conversation was happening on the way back to the party. Do you remember what it was? Because I don't.
I don't even know where I cut off.
Let's see. The comment Fractus asked you something semi-important, but it honestly slips my mind.
Do you remember that whatever the race was, person somewhere?
Oh yeah, the Eladrin.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Alright, so what I was responding to that was, according to the message we received last night, we have been being watched lately. So, it's very possible that could have been someone keeping an eye on us.
Yeah, I put both guys' bodyguards onto her as well, just to keep just to keep both guys safe. I don't particularly like people watching us, Soulman. But as long as I can keep ferreting him out, I guess it doesn't matter. It's the magical kind that I worry about.
Yeah. Now that she knows who we are, it's very possible she wants to keep an eye on us so she knows when to avoid us.
That just makes our lives harder.
Do we still have any of those anti-scrying necklaces?
Yeah, I still have that in my possession. I hadn't thought about that. I figured that had worn off by now.
Well, they're, from what if I remember, they're kind of weak and frail right now, so they might only have a couple of uses out of it. Regardless,
when you guys leave the tavern, by the way, that Ladrin is there. She's talking to a group of people, and she doesn't seem magical at all, other than her glowing eye. Otherwise, looking at her, she's got a great sword on her back and half plate on. And
What do you think? What do you think, Soulman? Should we ambush her? I'm not really too keen on broadsword users. Last time, kind of got my air choked out. So
no, I think getting into a fight here could be bad. Let's head back to the others.
I'm not saying here, but we could ambush her.
We could, especially if you keep an eye for her.
Fair enough.
Snakes.
We can see if she
Follows.
notices us and follows.
But we should try to be a little stealthy so that way we can tell if she's trying to follow us.
Fair enough. When do you want to be stealthy? When we pass her, or right now?
All the way through.
Do you want us to make stealth checks, Brandon?
Yeah. If you're trying to avoid her, she took notice of you as you stepped into the lobby of the Singing Ghost, but otherwise isn't paying you much attention at all. All right. I don't know if I mentioned this, but she only has one eye. So it like she's looked
That
over.
seems kind of important.
Yeah, she's looked over her shoulder once, like at you guys, and then just after that, occasionally she keeps scanning the room, but it doesn't look at all like her glance falls on you. Otherwise, yeah, you guys are unimpeded when you leave.
What is she talking about to the other people?
Do you listen in? How?
I can read lips.
Again, the way I phrased it, she has her back turned to you, so I will say you have to make a perception check on it.
I would, but I mean, what are they saying back to her? Right.
Okay. Yeah. From their perspective, it looks like they're it looks like they are organizing a raid under her contract. Perhaps she's some sort of blue contractor. It seems that she's tracking somebody. And they are helping her capture whoever this is. And it seems to be a battle plan that they're going over.
Do I get anything with an 18 perception from her? Like if she turns, do I see any of the lips? Or...
She is actually being very guarded about her words.
Is Soulmane right next to me?
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Fractus is going to whisper, well, that's interesting.
Hmm.
This lady needs maybe a little more warrant. Let's get out of sight and let's talk for a sec.
Sure.
Alright, you guys keep your heads down and leave?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we try to sneak out without her noticing.
Yeah, you're able to do so.
Yeah, I don't take Soulmane very far from the door, and I explained to him what I read with the lips.
Well, she's a blue contractor, like you think she is. Then they probably got a job from one of the lights.
Yeah, but why is she staring at us?
Probably because we are a couple of nobodies sitting with high elves in the middle of the university's backwater bar.
And Fractus is gonna grab Soulmate and say, "Is Boskai in danger? You used to do this stuff."
What would it be? An intelligence check or something to discern if these kind of actions are synonymous with assassination type work?
Yeah, I'll allow intelligence, insight, or investigation, however you want to justify it. A flat intelligence check would be like calling on your history of this line of business. An insight would be like discerning the information that you saw from her. And investigation would be trying to put together what Fractus just told you.
Let's go investigation.
Go ham.
It's a 22.
A 22. Okay. So, yeah, you are going to think on this for a moment. And, like, you are 100% spot on. Like, if the job had anything to do with, like, Boskai or... if the job had anything to do with Boskai or capturing her or anything, this plan would have been formed long before getting here. It's probably the former of what you said, of just like you're not you don't know much about elven culture, but whoever Boskai is associated with is probably like one of the top dogs of it. Which, if anybody does know anything about it, it's probably super strange that you guys are sitting with her. Enough strange that somebody might not even realize they're staring.
Yeah. Soulmane's just gonna, like, convey that more as just by the factor of her being, you know, such a high member of the High Elves, even, go. And a human walks up and starts palling around with them, they probably aren't after us or her. That was just more wrong place, wrong time.
At that, Fractus kind of gives this little cute little, devil boyish grin and goes, "I know my mom would hate if she actually knew. That's why I like her. You know, she really is quite amazing."
For the high and tidy types, she seems alright.
Well, she ain't high and tidy in the sack, let me tell you.
That's 2 strikes.
I know.
Come on, let's go.
Practice kind of looks at you when he says it and just giggles. The boy geek.
Alright, so you guys head back to join with the party. I was going to merge you guys with them sooner. I just wanted that conversation to be resolved because in my mind I was just like, what was it? But anyways,
I do apologize. My internet's been kind of wonky tonight, even more so than normal.
Unforgivable. You should be playing from AT&T's headquarters and yelling at them every time there's a single problem. I'm kidding. Yeah, you guys are going to head to the Lucky Spell Inn, and I'll rule you guys are going to get there 5-6 minutes after whatever discussion is happening right now. So yeah, jumping back over to the main party.
Before we do, Practice is seriously going to look at Soulmane and go, but in all seriousness, do you think I have a chance?
To become part of her circle?
At that, he was just like, well, I hadn't got that far, but maybe, eventually. I do like this girl. I know I was being a little bit devilish there, but I do like this.
Soulmane, give me a wisdom save.
What the fuck?
DC 15.
That's a 10.
You're gonna fail it. You open your mouth to respond to Fractus, and you have horrific flashbacks of the happiness you had with Nykiran, and then the crushing sadness that followed when she broke your heart. It's almost like PTSD or heartbreak or one of the two.
Aww.
I feel so warm and dead inside. Trying to play it off.
Soulmane, are you alright?
Trying to play it off. Soulmane's gonna fake a smile and go, we are literally trying to stop a god from coming back to this plane. And that's still the most unbelievable thing I've heard. Giving you a smart-ass smile.
Do I,
Nope.
So yeah, Soulmane's you're gonna see his face flinch for a second, and then he just starts smiling. It's like,
Wait, did you lie to me? Or did you lie or did you not lie?
Oh no, I lied saying that or not so much. Yes, I was lying about the unbelievable thing. He was being a smartass. He was playing off the sadness as a joke.
Alright. So, we...
Hold up.
Basically, he was pretending when he said that...
You still beat me by one, you little booger. Alright. Because with your deceit, it's a different number than 17, but yeah, it's 22. So.
All right, yeah. So Soulmane is going to fake a smile, give, I guess, Practice his wellest wishes, and we will come back to you guys in a couple minutes when you rejoin with the party. The rest of the party, you guys decided to get breakfast. Yeah, you're able to eat for moderate pricing from the inn. Its exact price escapes me. I think it's like 5 silver. Anyways, I'll tell you in a second what everybody spends. But yeah, you guys have breakfast, and Mirren starts at sun's out, drinks down. He is ordering night beverages early in the morning.
night beverages.
Yeah.
Even though he's still drunk.
And
I mean, if he dies of alcohol poisoning, he dies. Which, you know,
he dies.
is forbidden for him. But it kind of escapes his eternal punishment of spending forever petrified.
Oh, that guy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, wait. I was looking this up. That information wasn't for me. Modest, you guys spend 3 silver pieces each on breakfast.
How about Sindri, since he lives here?
Well, I mean, if you've got food here, you can eat it if you've got it in your inventory. Otherwise, you still have to eat. Fractus bribed their tavern keep with a bunch of money, so his room and board was included.
No problem.
All right. Yeah, I'm just actually going to skip ahead and roll the party is together. Everybody meets up in the Lucky Spell Inn. You guys are all together as you are dining on breakfast.
When Fractus comes in and sees the guy, he's like, you know, when you have 5 days to live, why do you drink so much that you can't remember any of those 5 days?
Do you... he's in between drinking and eating. He spews sadness. Just from what Fractus can hear, just you make out something about sometimes he dreams.
You know, my mother would be a perfect match for you. Do you like big women with strong attitudes?
I have no idea where this is going, but I love it.
He's going to put the wine bottle down and start counting and say, wipes his mouth like it's had to be at least 1,200 years before I last laid with anybody. At this point, he shrugs and says, I take what I can get.
What a man.
At that, Fractus just laughs and goes, yep, perfect match. So, Teak, what's the situation? And he looks around. Is it crowded in the...
Most people who come to this tavern just pass through it. It isn't normally. I have to pull up the document on it. If you give me a second.
If there's a lot of people, Fractus is going to look at Teak and goes, man, crowded in here. Did you have to share a room? And he kind of gives a little, like, nod to Ogun, you know? Like, I flick to Ogun type deal. While he's talking directly to Teak.
Yeah, at this point in the morning, it's 8th day? It's going to be populated almost as a cafe of different students and different teachers meeting with different associates, just having breakfast together.
Teak glares at Fractus for and kind of just shakes her head. She says, no, but I've been particularly curious about where you've gotten to.
Fractus is going to smile. Well,
he couldn't get off his high horse.
So you want him to brag about it? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Because we needed to hear that today.
Fractus
I just
smiles.
didn't think it would take that long.
Fractus smiles.
That's probably true. No, but you don't know Fractus well enough, because even if it didn't take that long, he'll still brag about it for half an hour.
Granted. All right. but I was actually hoping to speak with you, Practice.
Oh, don't hold back.
We'll get some food in your belly, and then you and we can step away for a moment and have a chat.
Oh, I've already eaten, but I can wait for you.
No need. I've actually also already eaten. Very well then. If you wouldn't mind stepping outside with me for a little bit of a walk.
Sure. You
can
okay?
do it. Go, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Sindri.
Teak and Fractus are gonna step away.
Oh, yes, what is it, Ogan?
No, just hey. Greetings. You know.
Greetings. Yeah, morning.
So did anything fun happen here last night?
Oh, much alchemical, masterful wonderfulness.
No explosions. That's a good morning.
Indeed.
That's better than most we get.
I still don't feel like I've lost my compass on this. There's too much bad information, shenanigans, people not playing their whole hand.
Well, let me start with some good information then.
Okay,
If you
let me
see
hear it.
Orion here, points to his owl, create a cloud. Be sure to stick your head in it.
Didn't you tell that to that dwarf that time, and he had pimples for a week or something like that?
No, but really in this case, I mean, you'll feel much better if you do so.
Oh, okay.
I recommend it for anyone who's nearby. Yeah. Do it a couple times if you need to.
Okay.
You'll feel
I
better.
am so confused by everything they've just said. So you're
Okay.
not sure if we want to go to the Tide Gate or Galkin?
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
Well, let's think about it this way. If we go to the Tide Gate, we can nip this all at the head of the snake.
Maybe. Wait a minute. How about this? Is there a teleportation circle at either one of those locations?
In the Tide Gate, not that Ogun knows about.
That's why he's asking.
Yeah, and actually, I can give.
That?
Yeah, I'll give anybody a history check. You guys are very aware that the X I just put on the map is a massive fortress that is a museum open to the world known as the Galena Mave. They have a teleportation circle within there. And then let's see what those other history checks were. So Sindri is not going to recall any other regional teleportation circles. Ogun is going to know, and Tobias, because Tobias is there with you guys. And I'll do these in purple. Ogun is going to know that the Darkened Veil, the Empress has a teleportation circle she lets Dila's personal circle use. Those on Dila's inner circle use. And Tobias also is aware of that teleportation circle.
Brandon, quick question.
Yes.
How long has Tobias been with us?
With you, officially, I can actually look at this and see. This would be his third day. He met you guys on the 26th, helped you fight Elena on the 26th, stayed with you all through the 27th, and it is the morning of the 28th. So this is going on his third day. He has been with you for 2.
Alright, and how long has he been out of the Darkened Veil?
Are you
'Cause he
asking
didn't-
Tobias that, or are you asking me that?
I know he mentioned it, but I don't remember.
Presumably a long time.
Alright, thank you.
So-
Sylvain,
Okay, go
hearing
ahead.
about that's gonna look at Tobias and go, do you need to return to the Vale anytime soon? Or if you don't, is there gonna be any issues, Tobias?
He is going to. He's going to say, "No, I sent my ward ahead of me. She's delivered the news of our travels and our goals." You do remember he had an apprentice that he was training before he was when he agreed to help you guys.
Yeah.
And rather than take her on a life-threatening mission, he sent her back with news.
Okay. Alright,
So, out of character, remind me why we would want to go to the Darken Vale if we were going to the Tide Gate.
Well, hang on a sec. I had a conversation with him yesterday, and due to some quirks in his condition, he's okay. So
oh, okay.
we don't need to worry about him. He'll be all right.
So in between the Darken Vale and Heimsdale, Steve, there is a I forget the name of that Earthfire, but there is an Earthfire there. It is one of the last two remaining Earthfires. The group thwarted Elena's attempt to steal the Warm Waters Earthfire under the ocean. They think that is going to be her next target in Galkin. So the Darkened Vale just represents someplace close by that they can teleport to.
Okay.
No, I'm not thinking close by. I'm thinking on site, like we hand somebody a sending stone and we can be there in a minute or something like that from getting the word. And I know that counts on them getting the word out, which so far Elena's tactics has made that challenging sometimes, but
Okay.
that's where I would like to be with that. And I mean, that's the idea where if we can get a circle at one of those two locations, then we can basically keep an eye on both at once. And unless they manage to pull off a two-pronged attack, there's a good chance we can be there to stop her.
Well, we don't need a teleportation circle really to either, do we?
We don't need it, but it makes our landings a lot more likely.
Well, I mean, the Earthfire in Galkin is a relatively well-known landmark,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. But it's
So
not a
once-
matter of public knowledge, it's a matter of personal knowledge to land a teleport.
There's no level of, like, familiarity to it.
There is familiarity if so, for instance, if I wanted to teleport somewhere around here, like the tavern I used to frequent when I was a student, I could probably land it. There's a better chance than not, but my chances of landing it at the circle are pretty much guaranteed. I mean, it's magic, sometimes there's that very slight chance of something going weird, but if you want to land a teleport, circle's the way to go. And
Well,
I mean, unless someone's already been there that's casting it,
yeah, and that helps, being there, being very familiar with it, having a little piece of it with you, all that stuff helps. So, for instance, when we went to the volcano, that's a place I had visited many times in my youth, and my staff is from there. It was ritually consecrated on that ground. So that was an easy one. It's pretty much guaranteed.
All right. So nothing else comes to mind as far as closer to where we're going?
Well, like I'm saying, on it or not at all. Okay? So we can go there, maybe go to the one near the Darken Vale, or go to Galkin, familiarize ourselves, acquire some piece of the thing from there, something important or, sufficient, and then we'll be able to find it again or get there quickly. But then we still need somebody that we can trust to, say, hang on to a sending stone or something like that to give us the word if there's a problem.
Well, has the Darkened Veil got anyone that we know we can trust in it?
Tobias probably has friends there. I'm going to take a wild guess.
Yeah, Tobias is going to look. Well, it's actually very hard to see his expression from behind his mask. His head turns towards you, and he is going to say very dryly, everybody in the Veil is a friend.
See, there you go. He's friends with everyone.
Well then, that's an option. We could go out there, check out that Earthfire, bring someone along, give them a sending stone,
Yeah?
get some chips.
Do they have chips there? I don't know.
I mean, well, Earthfire.
Now, I'm no sociology professor, but as I understand it, every culture has a fried bread thing and like a noodle or bread or something like that wrapped around some other food like meat or veggies or something like that. Every culture has it. And then there's a sharp murder stick. If they don't know how to make a sword, they make something that's very sword-like.
Well, I'll be more specific. I meant shards of Earthfire, so that we can find it again easily.
Oh, okay. See, I thought you were talking about food. Maybe I need to finish breakfast. I'm going to finish breakfast.
Me too.
Tobias is going to speak up and say, he's going to say, one does not simply visit the Galgan Earthfire and collect a travel memento and then leave.
Well, that's okay. We do a lot of weird things in this group, so...
If my people are allowed to maintain control over the Galkan Earthfire and unlock its secrets, this is, although we never would use the Earthfire in that way, Terai, feeding on that magic, become very, very powerful. The nation of Heimsdale consistently is at war with the Darkened Veil to control the lands around the Earthfire. It's a battlefield. Thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of my brethren have died over the years trying to claim those lands, and the same amount of blood has been paid by Heimsdale in turn. He is going to nod and say it's chaotic and dangerous even approaching that Earthfire, but it can be done if we're skilled enough.
Well, it's got no better guardians right now, so whatever we have to do to protect it.
Alright, let's jump over to Fractus and Tikaronis. So Fractus and Teak stepped out to have a conversation. What are you two discussing?
Fractus is going to say, before we get to the meat of what you want to cover, let me tell you what I found out. And he's going to review what he found out about Soulmane. Explain that he wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but it was said in front of him, so he figured Teak should know about it. About his dad, the
Cassandori Elfin Clan?
Yeah, the Cassandori Elfin Clan. Explained to him that he thinks that Soulmane is still kind of heartbroken by Nakiran. And then he's going to talk sweetly about Boskai and how much he likes her.
Because of course.
Because of course. And then after he monopolizes that conversation for a while, he's going to turn and go, so what did you want to talk?
Teak pauses for a moment before nodding. I I feel as though I have done an improper job as of late. And before you say anything, I would like to say my piece in its entirety. Under my watch, more than one of our comrades has fallen, and I feel responsible, as it was I who made those judgment calls. It was under my watch that Elena managed to escape our grasp, and through it all...
At that, Fractus is going to snort and spit and say, "Wasn't your fault, Teak. Those
Allow
damn
me
fucking..."
to finish.
And he's just gonna glare at Teak. Go ahead.
For some time now, I have been allowing the other members of our group to make more decisions. I'm sure you've noticed how quiet I have been getting as of late. But the reason is I am... she takes the helmet off. You can see she's starting to well up a little bit. I'm tired. I'm just so tired. I can't...
Practice is gonna hug her.
She embraces him back. I feel so old. I feel every movement takes so much more energy and strength, and lately I've been doubting more and more of my own decisions. I'm just tired. With that, she'll kind of... She's already sort of leaning forward over Fractus at this point. She's got a good bit of height on him, but she just kind of like stoops at the knees a little bit and presses her face into Fractus's shoulder.
Fractus is going to hold her and pat her on the head, not in like a condescending way, but like a kind of a loving, like on the back of the head type deal. And he's gonna say, "You know, when we started this mess a long time ago, I didn't really know what to think. You took me out of the Lux Anvil, and in a way, I've been grateful ever since. I wasn't really happy there. I know these things weigh on you. You put the world on the shoulders, but you've done an amazing job. We've cleaned out a village of evil werewolves. We protected the rest of the people there. We got rid of Terror Cry, one of the worst beings in this planet. You know, and Mia will bless you on this. And as you look to her, I know she's going to give you strength. But never for one instance have you made mistakes. Those damn mages let Elena escape. We caught her. Our blood paid for that. It's not your fault. Howard gave his life so that we could bring Elena in. And those mages knew that something was going to happen. They were supposed to protect and prevent magic like that to happen. We don't have the magic for that. They did. And yet they let it happen. just to see, just so they could, what was the phrase, write a book about it. We do what we can. We do our duty. In fact, we're still doing our duty. You know, if it was up to me, I'd be with Bo Sky right now, and you'd be home, retired, right? That was your plan.
She nods. Standing back up to her full height, but kind of still just pressing Fractus to her. Something like that.
You're one of the best friends I've ever had, Teak. So have a little faith. And for God's sakes, tell Ogun you love him.
She chuckles.
I mean,
maybe
you're not getting any younger. I mean, come on, girl. I mean, I almost want to tell him.
At that, she laughs out loud. Somehow, I don't think that would be well received.
I don't know. Ogun's a strange dude. He might like it. Who knows? You never can tell, but he's honorable. He's a little backward for my taste, but I can see why you like him.
She grins. Alright,
But promise me that you'll do something about that, because there's no use in living life hoping and praying and pining. That just doesn't work. You think I really felt comfortable trying to date a freaking princess? I mean, granted, it was fun. Granted, it was fun, but now, do you know what Soulmane told? He asked me if I wanted to join her circle.
Isn't that the elven equivalent of some kind of marriage or something?
Yeah, and I almost said yes. I like this girl.
You?
Well, I don't know how that's all done, to be honest with you. I really need to find out. I know that the whole human thing is a little bit weird, and I do need to figure out some things about that, but I really like this girl, and I probably would. I can't believe I'm saying that, you know? Me, the happy-go-lucky, the gambler, the guy who likes to cheat at cards. I don't know if I'm ready for that either. But I want to. That's why you can't wait with Ogun.
I tell you what.
And with that, Fractus leans closer and says, besides, if we're both going to be miserable, let's be miserable together.
I tell you what. I won't tell him just yet, because although your talk has helped, I still have some doubts on that front. But if we make it through this, I will tell him. And if I don't, you get to tell him. How does that sound?
If you don't make it, I get to tell him? I don't think
no,
so.
If I don't tell him, you get to tell him. How's that?
Okay. All right. Well.
But we have to make it first.
Just let me know if you need a wingman. I'm getting better at it. Do you know I almost got Soulmane a girl? Man, he's still all hard up on Nikira, and I felt bad for the lady. But we can try. We definitely can try, T.
Try.
Now, let's go back, have a couple of drinks, and plan where we're going.
That sounds good.
Now this time, make sure you sit next to Ogun. Give him one of those. You can rock a full plate. Make sure you stick out your breastplate out a little bit more.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to do that.
All right. Well, remember, I'm gonna tell him. So get on with it, man.
I'll work on it.
All right. So you guys head back into the bar. You are going to come back into a conversation between Ogun, Tobias, Soulmane, and Sindri about teleporting into the Darkened Vale and the Earthfire. Tobias informing them that, the lands around the Earthfire are incredibly dangerous. And Amiran, the man that Ogun is babysitting, stuffing his gullet. Oh, and a Taras stomps the tavern into the ground and shows up and says, "Teak, it's time to pay." No, I'm kidding. Getting on the Taras.
Excellent.
Fractus is going to turn to Tobias and goes, with there being so many armories there, is it going to be easier for Elena to slip?
Let's roll a history check from Tobias of what he knows about that area.
Because I've been trying to recruit people to be there, not really realizing there's already a war going down there.
Tobias is going to say the land is in constant flux. It passes hands. It passes hands within the hour.
Has there ever been a ceasefire?
He's going to nod and say, not a formal peace agreement, but when the goddess of fire, Suyesa, campaigned through the desert, the Darkened Vale's forces were pulled back.
Well, we don't want to pull back. We want both armies right around that Earthfire, preventing Elena to get anywhere near that. Practice is going to look at Teak and go, Teak, how much pull do we have with our goddess? Because are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I most assuredly am not thinking what you're thinking.
What if we have Umiya do the same thing that Sorissa did? And campaign isn't the right word, but come in peace and protect the Earth.
It's certainly a possibility worth looking into.
Also, we need to see if she can increase defense in the one under the water.
Teak and
Under the sea.
Give me a history check. Or nope. I lied. Give me a religion check.
Would you believe I have proficiency in that?
I do. You're a religious warrior.
It's like the only intelligence skill.
Would you believe that I am not?
Still give me the check.
That's going to be a 14 from me, boss.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for practices before I tell you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted me to do that.
Yes,
religion,
both of you. Yes, religion. Before I tell you what. All right, so you both Fractus and Teak hit the minimum requirements of the check, and you guys are going to know that Umiya is worshipped inside of the Darkened Veil. She's not the dominant religion there, but she is probably like the second most practiced religion within the Darkened Veil. A lot of Terai like her for sparing them when the rest of the world advocated for their destruction. You guys also didn't hit the second tier of the check. You know there is a church somewhere in Heimsdale devoted to, or there's a portion of, or a break off of the chantry in Heimsdale devoted to Umiya, but you don't remember where. It struggles a lot too because Heimsdale is almost wholly devoted to Soyesa, the fire goddess. You just remember seeing missives about it back in the chantry of Unity. When you worked inside the main temple, of just oh look, reports from other branches of the religion. So information you get, you are acutely aware there is a heavy influence for Umiya in the Darkened Veil. There's the same in Heimsdale of a significantly smaller magnitude. It's basically a fringe religion in both of those countries. But yeah, just as you guys were discussing, oh, let's get, Umiya to help, and this, that comes to your mind.
So does that dissuade us or not dissuade us, Brandon?
That is just information you have at your disposal. You're trying to get your goddess to intervene in a conflict on the other side of the world. I was just letting you know
Intervening is not exactly the right word. Just to stand still until we take Elena out, and then they can go about killing each other.
I was just letting you know you don't have to, bark up your goddess's tree because you guys have fellow followers over there too. And even that can even be an argument of, hey, you got skin in the game, Chantry. But yeah, that's just information you guys have. A branch of your religion exists in that part of the world.
Fractus is going to turn to both Tobias and Hogan. Say, what do you think of that course of action, guys? We need an army. Elena is not going to pull punches. You saw what she had.
The thing is, it's not just armies. She's shown tactics that would face an army, and she's shown tactics that would just run around, do the sneak and come in behind them, take out the target, and be gone before they know what's going on. She's done both.
Well, yes, but if you have basically an army camping on the Fractus realizes what he's saying. He's like, but with an army that's actually on the Earthfire, it's really hard to sneak around that. There's too many eyes. There's too many people.
Well, she disguised herself as one of the inner circle, and then promptly started hell inside when no one outside would know there was anything going on. Now, I do agree that if we have an army, then that takes away the easy army option, and if we're the ones on the inside, then hopefully that'll take away the other option. And what's left, I don't know, but at least we'll be there to face it. That's one thing. But I still want to be able to pop over to the other Earthfire if something goes down. And the other trick with that option is if we have the army at that Earthfire, we need somebody on the inside to warn us if something weird goes down.
Wait,
and we have got to be ready.
The only other earth fire is under the water. You want to pop over under the water?
Yeah. We've got the orb. If we have a good teleportation target, then
Okay.
then
well,
we can pop there too. And honestly, I'm really thinking that we should be camping out down there and available to pop over to Galkan as soon as something goes down.
Wouldn't talking with Amia, who actually goes there, we never actually got to the earth fire. We were just
True.
in some.
Well, no, we were under the water, just like out in the muck a mile out or something like that. Was it half a mile? Something like that? Close.
We think so. It was close, but we don't know exactly where it is.
True. But I wouldn't be surprised if Elena did. So she got as close as she could with her other methods. She just didn't have a teleport target. Otherwise, she would have popped into the middle of it.
Well, agreed, but...
And I have no idea what the defenses look like there. They could have some kind of...
Well, right, but
super magical, you're either a god or you don't get in, and then, we don't have to worry about it. But I don't know that.
That's why I thought we should talk to Mia, because not only can we strengthen Galkan, we can also strengthen the Earthfire.
Yeah? Okay. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm doing...
Fish. We saw
Go
those
ahead.
fish. We saw those fish people. Maybe Umiya knows them. Maybe
Yeah.
Maybe she can put an army there too.
Yeah. Could be either that they know not to fuck with her, or they could be her friends. How do I know? Honestly, let me just put this in perspective for you. Maybe you talk to your goddess on a regular basis. The closest thing I've come is I can walk into Dila's office without getting kicked out immediately. So anything beyond that starts getting really weird for me.
As you guys are talking, you are going to notice Mirren has put down his food and wine, and he is rubbing his mouth. And he's gonna say, I fought in the first shattering.
Nope, didn't know that. What you got for us?
He's gonna say...
That would have been very helpful information to know sooner.
He's gonna say, Gendoi was trying to take Amira's song, the Southern Earthfire. The one you said this, Elena attacked. We followed Amira into battle back then. She made the decision to destroy the Earthfire rather than let it fall into ill hands. He shrugs and says, gods can do those sorts of things, Doesn't hurt to have one on your side. At least if things go really, really bad.
Do you know how to contact one by chance?
Wait. Back up to the destroyed the Earthfire part. Brandon, is that Ogun going, yeah, okay, I remember reading about that, or wait a minute, it's destroyed? What?
Yeah, Ogun would know. There was a period in history that there were 0 Earthfires and on Ilderon's, on the face of Ilderon. It's really contested. Nobody really knows if the nobody really knows if the warm water Earthfire was there or not. But the Earthfires specifically came back within the past 1,000 years. Each time an ascended god rose, one of the Earthfires basically turned back on.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And they were individually destroyed one by one by one. The first one was destroyed in the Death and Swarm, and the second one was destroyed in the first Shattering, and nobody knows when the Galkan one was lost until the Kayak Wars happened, when the Terai and Archblight found it.
Okay.
And nobody knows history about the warm water one because it's at the bottom of the ocean and that technology doesn't exist. But yeah, he's going to propose that, and he's gonna say, "Look, I know I get judged for destroying a soul, but desperate times, desperate measures. Again, if a god can make the call, I don't think it's too far for us to be able to do the same."
You were suggesting that we could destroy an earth fire if need be.
He is going to nod and say, "Well, you don't know what these other people want to use it for."
Yeah.
Well, we know somewhat of what they want to use it for, but not the actuality.
And he's
Well-
gonna say, "Is it better that bad people have this power, or that nobody has it?"
Honestly, I'd rather have it, thank you.
I'm okay with that.
He's going to say, I wasn't a part of the group that made the decision, but I was with Dila when it happened. It was a tier of Amira that was needed to destroy the fire. And he's just going to shrug and say, "I don't know how you get one of those these days." I came out about, what year is it? 980? Is it 980? AE? He looks around at you guys. Tobias is going to say 1014. And he's going to say, "Oh, wow." Yeah, and he's going to say, "I was out about 700 years ago. I heard Amira never leaves Rion anymore."
I did.
Well, worth a shot, I guess. I mean, honestly, I'm trying to stop all this destroying the earth fires thing because I don't feel like the result is going to be good. You know, I know that people in general are not reliant on it for their existence in some ways, but it still makes me think, that's probably a bad thing, and I don't want anyone doing anything with that power that I wouldn't want done, and so on and so forth. So,
Sindri nods enthusiastically.
I mean, I kind of agree that taking it away as a possibility is a smart idea, but I just wonder about the side effects. And somebody more knowledgeable than me in that area I would really like to have a better idea, to have them give me a good solid word on, you can just, do that, you'll be fine, or no, don't do that, you'll just kill everybody. Because I was pretty sure it's going to be the kill everybody.
Yeah, maybe we could talk to somebody with magical ecosystems and things like that. Sindri starts to think about who might be suitable to have that conversation with here in the university.
Well, Deal is the only one I can think of.
She's definitely one.
I'm sure there's some, I don't know, is there a professor that did some investigation or research or something like that into that kind of stuff?
On what?
Full fire.
Is there a professor that did any?
What's the subject you're asking about? Did research on what subject?
Magical ecosystems, soul fires. What would happen? If that didn't exist, that kind of thing.
Oh,
yeah. Basically, what would happen if the earth fires didn't exist?
All right. Yeah. So I will roll you a percentage die on that.
So
if it
Brandon,
exists. Can you hear me? Hello, Tessie?
Yeah, I can hear you, but my sage background or my, field researcher background, if I don't know the answer to something, I know where to look.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm going to say. So as far as if somebody's done the research on that, yeah, there's somebody that's theorized on it before. At the university, they are going to have a random Namerones. And let's see. Oh, that's actually very Elungian, so that's fine. And yeah, you're going to know, and we got to give this person a rank. Let me pull up my faction thing real quick. Because they're not going to be very high. They're going to be some sort of archivist, probably. Oh, do they even have to be from the university? That's the other thing. Because they could
Nope.
be from a religious organization, too. What's the ranks of the Sunya? Sunya. Yeah. You would know there was a Sunyath prophet that was consulted on this a while ago for somebody trying to get their Arcanist's attribution and Earthfire research and all of it is all up in the air about how they used to work in older days because all that information was lost in the shatterings. So it's an easy subject of just, you theorize on some stuff, you get your Arcanist's attribution, you move on with your life. There was a prophet of the Sunyath that was consulted on this subject for what she her knowledge of the Earthfires and life without them. It is a fire spawn by the name of Prophet Ray Lilia.
Okay, and is she known as an author or to hang around out here or anything like that?
Yeah, let's place her in the city. I'll just roll a die of where she is at and what she does in the city. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess I'll just roll a d7 because that only exists on roll 20. All right. She is in a area of town known as Grace Walk. I have to look at my map to see where that is at. Grace Walk is going to be this portion of town right here. It is one of the nicer areas of Ililnagai. Or rather of Sky's Reach. And yeah, I'll say there is a temple there. Sky's Reach would have one of the 6 great temples in the world, or in Ililnagai. And she would function out of that Sunyath temple.
Okay, so I guess that's the info that Oaken remembers.
Well, I read a paper from Prophet Alilia, I think it was. She's around here, east part of town. I think we might be able to go talk to her. I don't know.
Oh, the big temple over there? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Grace Walk, I think. So we can go ask her about should we really be destroying these Earthfires? I mean, I don't want them in Elena's hands. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, that's just do we really want to go try to get this tier, or is that just a bad idea?
Right.
On the other hand, you would hope the goddess wouldn't steer us wrong in that one.
You'd hope.
But then,
Who knows
might
what
save us a
people
lot of
do.
trouble.
Who knows what people do with the goddess's tears against her own will?
Right. I don't know. How easy is it to get one of those?
I think you have to ask her.
Well, I mean, you would think, yeah, but...
Or make her cry a lot.
Do they turn into crystal and, people keep them in their pocket in a certain town? Or I don't know.
I imagine. I could roll an alchemy check on that one, I suppose.
Well, you don't have to, because Emirin is going to say, the Milanthelgar brought the last one.
Well, that's not good.
And he's going to say, if your world's being threatened, what's the Milanthelgar doing? He's dragging his feet.
Well, That's a
He's the
big
threat.
pile of trouble, actually.
Yeah.
He's looking. Well, I guess he's smart enough to roll an insight check too. He's a little bit tipsy and he's technically poisoned. He rolled that with disadvantage. Yeah, it's still gonna be a 2, and he's gonna look between you guys and like what am I missing?
Well,
I'll go for a walk.
He's gonna say, "Is Jin Prius dead?"
nope.
Wait, if he's dead, who was in his place pretending to be him?
And you see the cogs working in this man's head, trying to figure out like, okay, what's going on here? Because from his perspective, he's been petrified for X hundred years. It's Jin Prius's job to be like the defense of your guys' world and stuff. And so it's like, wait, okay, the millionth guard's not helping you. That's the problem. What happened to Jin Prius? And he's
Somebody want to give this guy the short version? I'm sorry, I have a little too much. I'm too angry about that one, I think.
Boss, let's just say he's switched team.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, there's not a united front anymore. There's them, and there's us. And there's different things happening.
He's going to slam his fist on the table, and more in excitement than like anger. I was just like, "Hot damn! Jim Prius is evil."
Yeah.
Friend,
Even-
I know you've been out of it for a few 100 years. You probably shouldn't be shouting shit like that in the middle of a tavern.
Yeah, and he's gonna quiet down. It's like, no, I'm just saying, I never liked the guy, but you're telling me he's attacked someplace?
Well, even his own followers don't realize what he's doing. They think that it's a holy mission.
He's the one
Okay.
He's the one behind the other 2 Earthfuckers being taken.
Yeah, he's on my kill on sight list right now.
He's going to nod and say, he's the one who got Dila exiled.
I think that's fairly common knowledge.
No, it is, but he doesn't know you guys.
Alright, shall we all go for a walk?
Actually, I got a better idea. Let's go just pop into the part of the tower that's sufficiently warded against all that kind of nastiness and observations and things. I don't think they'll mind us hanging out and using a conference room for a little while.
Are you talking about Dila's tower?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are able to do so. You're in the university currently, so moving over to the Heroes Tower. Yeah, there's other than the Calcan at the entranceway, this tower is pretty much abandoned. Walking inside of it, you can find a empty conference room and set up shop in it.
Okay.
And I'm assuming you guys are bringing Amira in with you?
Yeah.
He's too drunk and too knowledgeable to be floating about.
Right.
All right. He is still technically poisoned. Yeah, you guys are going to have a room that you believe is warded and secure to talk in. And as you guys head to this tower overlooking eastward, it overlooks the city of Sky's Reach. Amiran is going to say, "So what's with the secrecy? Huh?"
Well, we've been scryed on and tracked a little too often for my taste, and I just started getting an itch that we needed to get under cover, so to speak.
He's
We-
Oh, go ahead.
Well, our options are still the same.
They are, but at least the decision is going to be made outside of that to some extent, and we can obfuscate as we need.
Well, I see 4 options at least.
Okay? Go ahead and lay it out for us, Sindri.
Well, one was we could actually investigate the place we've been more recently at the bottom of the ocean more carefully.
Yeah.
Gather a scrap from there if possible, of something at least to teleport back to that region, if need be, in a haste. 2, we could go and check out this tier story, investigate that a bit more, at least with the local people, and see if it's worth our while. 3, head down and check out the other Earthfire. 4, head off to the islands and see what we can learn in that church.
Well, let's go by range at least a little bit. The going to visit this prophet in town, easy trip, be done in before the day is out.
Mm-hmm.
The others, we honestly, this whole let's go get near the Darkened Vale and work our way through the armies and all the other craziness. That actually sounds like a lot of fun to me. I mean, that's just me being weird about it, I guess. But
Exciting, yeah.
And then there's the island thing. The only thing with the underwater one is we would need friendlies down there, and that might be really tricky.
Well,
All right,
considering
Here's what I think you should do. All right, let's knock out the one that's just right down here.
I agree with
I
that.
don't think we should all go. In fact, Soulmane, you and Ogun should stealth go. You're our stealthiest people. I don't know if you have a spell of Pass Without Trace. Alward used to do it all the time. It was damn hard to find him when he did it too.
Probably not today. That's a maybe tomorrow kind of thing, I think.
I got one in the ring.
Okay, that'll work.
If you guys go Pass Without Trace, making it impossible to that they know that you went there, do your thing and get back here. Then we need to go, and if we do go to Galkan, what are your thoughts about bringing Umiya in to unite them? At least temporarily.
I like the idea of a united front if she can make it happen. I imagine she could, but I don't know.
Well, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone then. What we can do is we can talk to her about uniting them, as well as talk to her about getting a contact. Because knowing the place is only going to get us halfway there under the sea.
Yeah.
Right? We need to have somebody there watching that Earthfire like a hawk and to notify us.
Right.
And Umiya might actually know those fish people that Elena was fighting. Because anybody that's an enemy of Elena is a friend of ours at this point. A friend that maybe we can trust for a bit,
Sounds good.
So we can hit both of those, and we could teleport to Umiya. That would make it very hard for them to know that. Then we can come back if we need to, or go to Galkan, depending on what information we get, or go under the sea to talk with the Umiya's contact.
Fractus, you hear footsteps BT dubs. Just letting you know.
Practice is gonna hold up his hand and cock his ear, and then he's going to motion Soulmane to get near the door.
I'll slide over to the door.
And then Practice is going to go on like he was talking, and he's going to start talking about Bo Sky and how she was so drunk last night, and the jokes that he had, and he's just kind of waiting for the footsteps to see what they.
All right. Yeah, if you just go on in that manner.
Yeah.
After a second, you are going to see. Well, I guess she would have dancing lights going because she doesn't need torches in her own tower. You're going to see white light filling the hallway, just giving off or rather the dim light creeping into the room. A few seconds later, you see Dilo and Rona step in the room, and she is going to look around at everybody and say, "Oh, excuse me, I heard voices." And let's see. She's also going to say, specifically on your last point, and she's going to say, Lylilla Alarith is a good friend of mine. It would be wise of you not to talk ill of her daughter while you're in my tower.
And Practice smiles and goes, "I would never talk ill of her daughter.
And
her daughter is amazing."
And she's going to look at Ogun and say, I expected you, Professor Three Strikes, to be skimming your way across the shores of the Tide Gate by now."
"Have a seat, Delia." And Practice is going to point.
Not yet. There's other possibilities. A little too much.
But that Practice
Things
is
need
going
narrowing down.
Practice is going to elbow Ogun. And Practice is going to say, "Delia, I apologize. I wasn't really here when this happened, but who is this person?" And he points to this guy, even though Practice already kind of knew from what everybody else.
She is going to sit down and look at him and say, "You don't have to be too concerned. You don't have to be too concerned with him. Need I remind you, Miriam, if there are the contingency will inform me if you try and dispel anything or if you begin dying." And he's going to nod and say, "We've been through this dance 100 times already." Dila's going to look towards you and say, "He was once an apprentice of mine, long, long ago when I first tried to guide humanity. He was talented, but he took the life of another within our circle, and it was unforgivable."
Practice wants to do an insight check.
And go ahead. Let's see. How well is she hiding her emotions? Yeah, it seems kind of personal. And you're gonna sense some earnestness from Dila, but yeah, she's definitely holding back information from you. And he's gonna say, "Come on, it's been over 2,000 years now."
That's not really what Practice was going for, but that's actually good if he feels that. You're going to see Practice kind of relax and go, "It's her, guys. It's actually her. I was worried that it might be an imposter. My apologies, Delia, for the questions. I really don't care who this guy is.
And he's gonna say, "Gee, thanks."
At that, he's gonna go to Ogun. Sorry, continue what you were telling her. We don't need to blab to people we don't know exactly isn't who they say they are. We have too many enemies and not enough friends.
True, and yeah, I'm surprised at your level of paranoia, and I appreciate it at the same time. So
She's going to. Well, let's roll her an intelligence check. And she's going to respond with, "Just keep your minds focused at the tasks at hand. Stop being Gen Prius. I've been looking through my old journals and records for any mentions of Yandria. Or, not Yandria, of Ayandel." She's gonna say, "If I had any personal relationship to her, it obviously wasn't personal enough to write about."
okay, well, go ahead.
Practice is gonna look at her and also say, "And by the way,
I'm gonna marry Boskai, so I hope you put in a good word for me to her mother."
Dila is going to say, "That's quite the claim. How you do know you need the gift of Adorai to be allowed in a circle. You don't have to be elven, but you do have to be ageless."
say what now?"
And she's gonna say, "It's their culture. You can only add someone to your circle if they're eternal."
Ogun, I have a couple of requests when you do some research. One of those is how that's going to happen. But let's save the world first.
Okay, immortality is often chased and usually a bad idea, especially under the current circumstances.
Amiran's gonna say, "Most of Ilderon's problems start with the person who's afraid to die."
That's true.
Now, I'm doing this, ain't I? I'm not afraid to die.
Now, hang on a sec. Just because you can't be added to the circle, and he's using air quotes, doesn't mean you can't make some kind of appropriate commitment to the situation. I think there may be a social solution where a magical one is just a bad idea.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll entertain that later. I don't want to take up valuable time with Delia.
So, Dila, one thing I was going to try to figure out, I was going to go talk to the Prophet Aurelia, something like
Ray
that,
Lilia,
in town.
Ray Lilia.
Ray Lilia? My
Yeah.
apologies. So, what happens if there's no earth fires? Like, what happens if we take one of them out? Does that ruin Elena's plans? Does it kill everyone if Elena gets the other one? What happens?
She's gonna look at Amiran, and he's gonna shrug and say, "What? They came to that all on their own." Yeah. And she's going to look back at you and say, if you believe the teachings of the Wills, the Earthfires were sent here to terraform this world. It was uninhabitable before their presence and their infusion of life into the world. That said, Ilderon did have a period without their magic. I would theorize that Ilderon would be fine for some time. However,
Sometime?
she nods and says, They changed the physiology and the makeup of Ilderon's plane entirely. I don't doubt if it was changed, it can be changed back. However, it would take time.
So what about reducing the power of an earth fire into a small item like what Elena's been doing?
Dila is going to put her hand to her chin and say, I've had time to think about this. Again, I think the nature of the earth fires is closely related to binding. Their presence is more important than their location. Rather they're held as a small item or they burn on a mountaintop.
Great. So
destroying is probably not good.
how can we shrink one down? That's what I'm saying.
Basically, we have to pull the Elena trick, whatever the heck she's been doing.
Well, who's witnessed that?
Amiran looks to Dila. Dila is going to shake her head and say, never successfully.
Oh boy.
Oh right, your friends were working on that, weren't you?
She's going to say, in the kayak wars we tried to steal an earth fire. Was one of my teachers that first came up with the ritual to do it.
So, knowing what you know about Elena, what resources or perspective might you have different that helped her succeed?
Amiran is going to say, you let her into the sequestered library? Dila is going to turn a sharp glance to him and say, I didn't let her into anything. She snuck in. And he's going to say, all this time you'd never let me read a single book inside there, but and she's gonna roll a... Dila begins casting a spell. He is going to fail it. You guys see Dila cast a spell and shoot a ray into this guy's chest. His lungs are going to start gasping as you see his chest start to turn to stone. And he's going to say, oh, fine, I had 4 more days. He angrily is pointing towards Dila. And she's going to say, I can only bear his presence for so long. And she's going to look at Sindri and say, I didn't let her into the library, but I do have a cache of knowledge that is not meant for the eyes of Ilderon. She tricked me, and she broke into it.
I know. But since she's out there actively doing this, would it not be prudent to do it before she can herself? It'd be much harder for her to find them if they're smaller items, not sitting on a mountaintop.
Dila is going to nod and say, I can put in more effort into researching the ritual. The version of it that I know is incredibly long and difficult to pull off, and if one thing goes wrong in the process, it has disastrous consequences for everyone involved.
Is there anything Ogun has seen from any of these sites, or gathered information or whatever after Elena takes an Earthfire that would lead him toward, well, here's some of the parameters. It smells like this, and anything like that?
No, you have not witnessed her doing the ritual.
I'm just talking about After Effects.
Oh, After Effects?
Was there a lingering smell of some incense? Was there a certain kind of substance on the ground? Anything?
Nothing that you haven't already told Dila.
Okay.
With it
Figured I'd
being
check.
turned to crystal and stuff.
Okay.
So Sindri will nod to her and say, "Yes, please continue that research. Let me know if you need any help."
Okay. Well,
Can we visit the prophetess soon?
I think so. Let's start with that.
Hey.
Soulmane?
Soulmane.
Practice is going to write a note and put it in the guy's hand that says you should have pooped.
Well, when he wakes up in 300 years, you'll all be dead. Sadly.
Still be funny.
Yeah, he'll still remember, and he'll be like, that bastard.
Soulmane, roll me an Arcana check. Nope. I'll allow it as a history check. I'll allow either.
Why just soulmate?
Just Soulmane. He's the only one with access to this information.
Oh.
Anthony, are you there?
He's certainly flickering a lot. I think he's on some sort of
Yeah.
dish.
I see him
Satellite dish.
typing or saying something, but all right. Anyways, I'll come back to him later. You know what? I'll roll it for him, and I will see if he contributes anything. History check 11. Soulmane remembers his time when he snuck into the. Well, he tries to call back to memory of his time when he snuck into the Temple of Hearthfire when Elena was stealing the first Northern Earthfire. He was the only one to ever partially even witness this ritual. He can't recall much about it, though. Otherwise, yeah, you guys can continue discussing what you were discussing.
Does he say anything about that?
Yeah, if you remember something, then
No, he tries to. He failed the check.
Oh, okay, I'm saying, does he say anything like, well, I saw the last bit, but I don't know.
I'm trying not to heavy-handed control Anthony's character, so I'll just roll you guys a percentage die. 58%
Okay, I was deciding
is gonna come up just. He's gonna, like, you guys are gonna see Soulmane there, and Soulmane's gonna say, oh, wait, Anthony.
He's back.
Cool.
What's
You
up?
can make this decision. So, information discussed while you weren't there. The ritual that Elena has been using to steal Earthfires, Dila has said that she will try and understand it more. Nobody knows what she did to make the ritual so quick and efficient. Soulmane is the only character out of anybody in the entire world that has witnessed Elena do anything close to an Earthfire. You didn't witness what she did, but you remembered you snuck into the Temple of Hearthfire, and you got close before you hid under the bench when Terracry was stalking you. You rolled a history check to try and recall facts about that moment, and you failed. You couldn't remember anything about the ritual. All of this has happened inside of your head, and right now, since you are back, I'm letting you decide if Soulmane wants to speak up or not about this. I rolled the history check for you since you're AFK. You failed it. You don't remember anything about the moment.
That's
fine.
about the topic, basically. Yeah.
Alright. Well, thinking back on it, Soulmane's gonna speak up and say, I don't. The night she took the earth fire in Ark, I was at the temple where it was. I tried sneaking up. I don't remember anything she did or said her that night, but I did get pretty close to the point where I had to sneak away before Terror Cry caught me. I managed to avoid him.
Have a seat. Sit down. Ogun rubs his hands together and throws. I want you to give me just a moment. Close your eyes. Put yourself back in that situation. Imagine yourself sneaking, into the temple. And he throws guidance and enhanceability for intelligence.
Okay, well, you would do enhanceability and then guidance, because guidance only lasts for a round. If Soulmane wants to, he can re-roll that check, or he can say, "Get your dirty, stinking animal man hands off of me."
Alright, guidance gives advantage, or
No,
a D4?
guidance gives you 1d4 on the roll.
Enhanceability gives you advantage. And actually, guidance is second, but it lasts for a minute, but does require concentration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so advantage because of the
Enhanceability.
yeah, and D4. So that's 1. I'll take the 13 and a D4 16.
16. You're going to beat the hard threshold. So as you're thinking about the moment, I mean, you pretty much recalled every detail that you remembered from that moment. You couldn't hear the words Elena was chanting or anything that was happening inside. Again, you remember there was a lot of blood. You weren't sure who it belonged to. You assumed the temple attendants. And then an additional detail that you didn't share was when Terror Cry came after you, he was in his deathened form. Other than that, that's everything you got. But
Still,
if you share that, I'll allow everybody else to make a religion check.
it's still kind of fuzzy. The only other real things besides that is there was a whole mess of blood, and when Terror Cry was chasing me, he was in his deathened form. He wasn't in his human form.
Well, actually, I'm not even going to give you guys a religion check on that. I'm just going to say, since Soulmane passed that, everybody here fought Terror Cry. He cannot control his death and transformation. It happened whenever he took radiant damage. Whatever, everybody can kind of like put one and one together. Whatever, and then all the elves inside that center room were dead too. Whatever she's doing probably isn't safe for anyone around her.
Okay, so there's a ton of radiant energy and possibly blood sacrifice, or at least a lot of damage to anyone that isn't her.
It's possible it is for her too. It's,
Possibly.
man, I'll sure resist some of it.
Can Sindri do like a transmutation check or something?
Sure, I'll allow that. That's an Arcana check. Because it would make more sense coming from a player than NPCs.
Okay, well he has double on things related to like alchemy lore and whatnot, so I'm not sure if that applies in this case. Double the what you call proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be an extra +5 on top of this roll. Here we go. Okay. 27.
So you've got limited spellcasting knowledge and limited ritual knowledge, but you are going to you're aware of the process. You cast spells before. A lot of the way that you cast spells, and the modern methods of using arcane magic are all about shaping arcane energies, and there are just a lot of chance and basic spell components that somatic and verbal components that go into almost every spell for safely shaping those energies. I mean, if you lose those, when you're ritual casting or casting a spell, who knows what would happen, but you could probably do it a whole heck of a lot quicker. That would be your first guess. That would be your educated guess, because you are a professor.
Alright.
Or rather, you're an adjunct professor.
To clarify that out of character, so that basically sounds like she may have been channeling raw power, ignoring those usual aspects that would focus things. Is that right?
Yeah. Potentially from the information you have available.
Okay. Alright, well, he'll relay that to everyone. Basically sounds like she's ignoring certain somatic and perhaps material components of what normally would be required, and somehow channeling a massive amount of power to bypass those safety measures that would normally be used for such a thing.
Could see that making a big difference on the time, at least.
Yes, it expedited tremendously.
Does any of this kind of stuff ring any bells for you, Adila?
Adila has been looking down at the table the whole time you've been talking. She does not look happy about this information. She's going to look up and say, "Foolish girl." And she's going to nod and say, "The process itself is already dangerous enough. If she isn't using any of the components that go into that ritual, of the extra precautions," she shakes her head and says, "All right, we'll see if we can get a band of Arcanists together to move the Galcan Earthfire."
Okay.
Excellent.
That should be exciting for somebody.
That's him.
Alright, shall we split here and a few of you head off to that temple?
Yeah. Soulmane, let's get a move on.
Dila is going to nod and say, "Keep in contact." And she's going to stand up. She begins casting a spell. You are going to see the statue of Emirin that is angrily pointing at her take a relaxed position. She then says, "Wait, take your place in my office." The statue begins to walk. She steps out of the room behind you, or behind it.
That was honestly probably the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's a cool trick.
I don't know if that makes the imprisoning better or worse.
I don't want to know.
I don't think I do either. Alright.
It might be a little more comfortable, but then again, you're stoned.
Yeah, as long as you don't get any, knots in your muscles from standing there in weird positions or something like that. But then,
Would you care at that point? I mean, you are stone.
it's the difference between waking up every 500 years or whatever sore as hell, or totally fine, relatively speaking, anyways, or at least, accepting the having to take a shit part.
Well, I think it's well preserved and held in any way.
Well, he didn't seem sore coming out, so I guess it'll be all right. Anyways, moving on.
I'm already casting Pass Without a Trace in the ring.
Okay.
Yeah, where shall we meet?
I don't know. Here?
Alright.
All right, so we'll end here for the night. And just for my understanding, one person's going to go talk to this prophet, or is
Two.
Me
Sylvain and Ogun are going.
Okay. All right, and yeah, and then what's the rest of the party doing? Just waiting, or was there another task distributed?
I'm sure Sindri wants to do more alchemy work.
Yeah, you can do alchemy or tinkering, start working with this.
And I'm just gonna sit there and look at Teak and go, huh.
Why didn't
Yeah,
you say
nothing.
anything? Well, Dila petrifying, her friend of thousands of years, kind of killed the romantic vibe of the room. Anyways, let's do experience for tonight. I am just going. Well, you guys have a direction, so that's great. I don't think. Well, you learn minor bits of new knowledge tonight. And anything else major happened tonight?
I made a potion.
Yeah, you made a potion.
We got the normally imprisoned in stone guy good and drunk.
Yeah, you did. I'll give you minor experience for that. And again, just like, you always have to shit when you come out. And it's like, well, sometimes you have to and shit through your pee-pee hole, and it's not good.
You learned a lot about Fractus's desires.
Oh yeah, I'll give you guys minor experience too for Fractus and Teek's conversation.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Mhm.
Look, my character is sad, and as a depressed person, that's my goal.
Okay, less XP. It's too easy for him. No, I'm kidding. You did well.
Yeah, I think that's good for tonight. So 1 tick of major experience and 3 ticks of minor experience. Not a big session tonight. Tonight just covered a couple hours. So we'll let's see. I don't even know why I'm trying to add this up in my head. Let me pull out my calculator. You guys are all level 14 or 13?
13.
13, okay.
We're on the cusp of 14.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
All right, 3,750 experience for tonight.
That should do it for most of us.
Yeah, and it's just a minor night of just clarifying stuff and getting a direction.
3,000.
Yes, 3,750. All right, and let's schedule your guys' next session. Your next session is going to be on the 2nd of September. And we will pick up there. Thank you for playing tonight, everybody, and I will end the broadcast.